What's going on, fellow A-plusers? It's your boy Adam Perez back once again with a brand new video for you guys today as we are looking towards the future. That's right, since 2022 is set to go ahead and wrap up here rather shortly. We've had an amazing year of movies, certainly some things to look back fondly on, to certainly say the least, but 2023 is right around the corner, and with it comes big brand new movies, and we are certainly here at A-Plus Hero Report excited to see exactly what we're going to be checking out for next year. So much so that I thought we'd go ahead and get a little bit of a jump on it and give you guys our top 5 most anticipated movies for 2023. And it's not just myself here today. Oh no, we're going to be picking the brains of myself along with good old Stuart Branscombe certainly joining us once again, buddy. We were trying to get Indy in here, but unfortunately wasn't able to go ahead and get him on the recording with us here. So I'm sure he'll definitely chime in, hopefully in the comments, and list his top 5 movies for us. But Stuart, we're going to go ahead and tackle 2023 here. We've got an honorable mention, movie that didn't necessarily make our top 5, but still are looking forward to it. And then we're going to be giving you guys our individual top 5 movies. So some may be the same, some certainly may be different. I'll be pretty interested to kind of see what Stuart is very much looking forward to. How you been, man? You doing okay?
Yeah, I've been good. It actually feels like it's been forever since I've been on the show, and I guess I've just had a really busy last couple of weeks, so it's good to be doing this again.
Yeah, man, it's good to have you back. I know we're going to be having you for Hero Report. Well, maybe by the time that this video drops, we probably will have seen you on Hero Report already.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always good to have you back. And listen, man, with the holidays and stuff, I mean, we had Thanksgiving, we got Christmas coming up. I personally feel like life has just gotten so much more hectic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to keep it all on track. But guys, we are here today. I'm really looking forward to this, Stuart. I feel like it's towards the end of every year, I want to do a top 5 most anticipated movies for the following year, and I wind up forgetting all about it. So I really want to go ahead and get ahead of the game here a little bit and pick your brain and kind of see not only what movies we have to look forward to, but I just want to see also our differences and our things that we have alike also. So this should certainly be relatively fun. So before we get into our top 5, Stuart, let's go ahead and get into our honorable mentions here. You have 2 honorable mentions that you want to go ahead and throw out. What is your first honorable mention that you want to highlight? And if you have an image of it, feel free to go ahead and throw it up there for everybody at home.
All right, so for my first one, the reason this is an honorable mention, despite me being a huge fan of the franchise, is because I literally know absolutely nothing about what this movie is really going to be about.
Okay.
I'm looking it up on IMDb, and it looks like Sam Raimi is only really an executive producer on it, and
Okay.
and I don't see anything about Bruce Campbell being in this movie, but we have a new Evil Dead movie coming out, Evil Dead Rise.
Interesting.
Love the Evil Dead franchise. I love the reboot. I really love the TV show. If you guys haven't seen Ash versus the Evil Dead, highly recommend it. It is a really, really fun time. So all that being said, I'm excited that there's another movie, but of course, the reason I haven't really put it as in the actual top 5 list itself is because I know absolutely nothing about this movie going into it next year. So I'm really anticipating that trailer, though.
Um, Evil Dead Rise. It looks like it's a high rise. When I look at it, all of a sudden, for some reason, I think of The Raid. Is this like the Evil Dead, The Raid in a high rise with like the undead though?
I mean, that'd be a pretty cool premise. Maybe it's at a giant apartment complex or a huge hotel, and that's where someone's like, "Oh, check out this book I found," and then they read it. There's a million directions they can go with it. The number one thing I hope they don't do, and it's kind of like the same thing we brought up with the upcoming Karate Kid reboot from Sony. I really hope they don't use that and retcon the show that came before it. I hope the show stays within that continuity, because the show, like I said, is just a lot of fun. And given that it seems like the movie isn't going to be focusing around Ash, I think they could easily keep the show in continuity.
Well, I'm glad that Sam Raimi's actually on board as far as executive producer goes. I feel like there's been a couple other films that I've seen him executive produce that I've still been pretty big fans of. I feel like he doesn't attach himself to things unless he's pretty confident about it. And I haven't really watched Ash versus the Evil Dead, with the exception of like a couple of episodes here or there, just because I remember when Brian Edward Hill, I think, was brought on board to write the new Power Ranger movie. I was like, I want to go and see what content, like what type of stuff he's written before. And it took me down a rabbit hole of Titans and Ash versus the Evil Dead sort of thing. So I definitely have checked out a couple of episodes, but not the entire series. So a great honorable mention there. Was it Evil Dead Rising or Evil Dead Rise?
Yeah, Evil Dead Rise.
Love it, love it. All right, so that's his first honorable mention. I'll go ahead and throw out my honorable mention for you guys here. Didn't quite make the cut, but one that I'm really fascinated and certainly checking out, and that is in fact the upcoming prequel for The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. You know, I was a big fan of the original franchise with Jennifer Lawrence. Surprisingly, believe it or not, Stuart, I've never finished that series. I think I missed out on part two, so I literally have no idea how this movie even ended. But I was a really big fan of just the lore and the storytelling within the first three. And so for me, I kind of want to go back to that world. I feel like it's been quite some time since we've revisited it. The gentleman in charge, Snow himself, like I am kind of intrigued to see what his life was certainly like beforehand. I think it's also going to be, I think they also cast Rachel Zegler from the Snow White movies, from the most recent West Side Story. I think she's certainly going to be in there as the love interest for this younger Snow. So considering how we see Snow in the current iteration of the Hunger Games, I kind of want to see who he was as a kid or as a teenager, at least, and really just how everything built up to how we certainly know it in the current Hunger Games series. So I am really fascinated in this. But yeah, the Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This is in fact a prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy, or quadrilogy, however you want to say it. But yes, that is my honorable mention. You have any interest in seeing that film?
Yeah, I really liked the first two Hunger Games movies. I think like 3 and 4, the problem is it just fell under that like big like trend that was going on at the time where essentially every
Everything has to be
movie
split
big
up.
yeah, every movie based on the book had to have two parts. And like the first time it happened with the Harry Potter movie, it made sense because you know the seventh Harry Potter book was huge, and I feel like that
Massive.
need yeah, and I feel like it needed two movies, you know. But like yeah, with every other movie that's tried it since then, I feel like it's always just been for money, and I think The Hunger Games was like no exception. Because yeah, I really felt like those two could have easily fit into one movie.
Yeah, I'll have to check out that final one honestly and see for myself. But yeah, definitely one. This is definitely a movie I am certainly looking forward to, and we've definitely have highlighted it maybe once, at least once, on Hero Report so far. But maybe as we get closer to the release date of that, we'll definitely keep you guys informed. But the release date for that, if I'm not mistaken, is actually we got quite some time. It's like a year away, literally, like November 17th in
Oh wow, yeah.
2023. So hopefully it sticks to that release date and doesn't get pushed back or anything like that. So yeah, November 17th, 2023, The Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. And Stuart, you had another honorable mention also?
Yeah, this actually was going to be on my top 5 list, but then I saw a trailer that will be number 2 on this list that I thought was so hilarious and awesome that I had to bump this one off. But it's the upcoming Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania movie. Just every time I see that trailer, man, it gives me the chills. The Elton John song that they use for it, I think, just really
Oh
sets
yeah.
the a really interesting tone that we haven't seen from Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now, that all being said, yes, I know this is a trailer, so very likely, I'm sure the movie will probably be more in line with Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp, you know. But for just what we've seen from the trailer, I think it looks, at the very least, they're definitely taking it in a very different direction in terms of where they go. I'm very curious to see if this is really going to be a giant setup for the upcoming big threats that we're going to be seeing within phase 4, especially now that we're being introduced to like I think this is going to be like the version of King the Conqueror that's going to be the main villain of the franchise going forward. Obviously, can't say for sure because we still don't know. But yeah, regardless, I'm just really intrigued by everything that's been introduced in this trailer. And again, it's just a really well edited trailer. So yeah, honorable mention.
Yeah, I think that's a great word to use, intrigued, because I feel like there's still so much about this movie that we certainly don't know, and they've been doing a really good job of keeping that suspense and secretiveness about this particular film. And so, like every time that I see it, they even dropped the brand new sizzle reel. I think that you had mentioned to me, where they like put together all the previous Ant-Man movies and his time in the Avengers, and then they kind of lead up a little bit into this Quantum Mania movie to really get us hyped for really gets Scott Lang's journey in regards to where he's been at. So they seem very tight-lipped. I definitely need to see a little bit more, but I'm already excited for this film just based off of Jonathan Majors already. Yeah, man, I can see why it made your honorable mentions list.
And oh, I forgot to mention the release date. Luckily, we don't have to wait long for this one because it's coming out February 17th.
Ooh, we got like 2 months away. I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they should be hitting us with some marketing and promoting here relatively soon. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get ourselves a trailer pretty soon. All right. So those are in fact the honorable mentions. Now it's time to go ahead and get into our top five, the main event, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and start this off, Stuart. I'll go first since you had the last honorable mention. For me, coming in at number five, my fifth most anticipated movie of 2023, I'm gonna give this bad boy to Creed 3. Good old Jonathan Majors once again. Michael B. Jordan. I'm telling you, man, Jonathan Majors is going to be everywhere in 2023. I'm really looking forward to these two being on screen together. Honestly, I saw the trailer and it blew me away. I really love just the personal route that this film seems like it's going to be taking. It feels like we finally have gotten Adonis. Not that I've had a problem with Adonis and Rocky being, tied at the hip, but the third one here really feels very much like Adonis's movie itself. And with Michael B. Jordan having his directorial debut, I'm fascinated to kind of see what he's picked up from all the amazing directors that he certainly has worked with and what he's learned along the way. And the fact that this is truly his story and how personal it certainly is surrounding. This has me, as Stuart would say, very intrigued to say the least. There's just something about the idea of having somebody that you knew from your past life, bumping into them again, trying to help them out, having them clearly take advantage of the help that you've given them, and clearly have had a chip on their shoulder to want to prove something to you after you've gone out of your way to certainly help them, sort of thing. And I'm sure there's plenty more to this story as these two were kids and grew up and things like that. So to kind of see where they've come, where they came from and where they're at right now in their lives. Jonathan Majors looks like he's eaten a Hulk Hogan and also worked out at the same time. I mean, the man looks incredible. So does Michael B. Jordan. This looks like this is going to be an incredible fight to watch. So for me, coming in at number five, I'm going to go with Creed 3, which releases on March 3rd, 2023. So that's also not too far off. I feel like that's going to help kick off our summer blockbuster movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll give my thoughts on it because spoiler alert, it is somewhere on my list as well. So I'll wait till I get to that to give my thoughts
All
on
right,
it.
sounds good. So Stuart, what is your number five?
My number five is a movie that I am very, very excited to see how they pull this off because this could go so wrong or it could go so right. But regardless of if this is good or bad, I can almost guarantee this is going to be a really fun ride, and that is
Hey,
Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves, which will be releasing March 2023. I think. Oh yeah, March 31st, 2023. So yeah, so I'm not like a huge D&D enthusiast. Like I don't play like often, like mostly when I do it's with a group of friends, and it's always like we do go by the rules, but of course we'll make certain exceptions if it needs to fit like a certain campaign type of a thing. So, we're not very stingy D&D players basically when we play. But all that being said, D&D is such a fun game that, you get so much of your imagination can really go into, and you can almost write your own movie from playing D&D. So I just love the idea of like getting to explore this world through someone else's perspective. Very curious to see how much of D&D lore actually stays like, canon to the movie, how much they like, how much they really stay true to to the lore of D&D basically. Because I mean, I'm sure like for me, if they do anything that contradicts what's already established in D&D, I probably won't notice, but I'm curious
Yeah.
like how the D&D fans are going to react to that kind of thing. But yeah, and then I also really love the cast that we got. It looks like they're all like having an absolute blast filming this movie. And everything I've seen from the trailer, it looks like it's going to be a fun ride.
Yeah, it looks fun. Oh, and when I see the trailers, it definitely does look fun. Yeah, I'm hoping it certainly washes the taste out of our mouths, out of the what was it, the early 2000s or
Yeah.
the other Dungeons and Dragons movie we had with was it Marlon Wayans, if I'm not mistaken, or one of the Wayans brothers.
It might
Um,
have been.
but so yeah, I do love that. I do love that choice. And Hasbro, hopefully Hasbro's checking out this video to see that we certainly appreciate the effort that they're putting towards their movie. Because certainly had my reservations, but after seeing the first trailer that they wind up dropping, I'm really looking forward to it. It looks fun, like you said. So we'll see how it turns out though. And when
Yeah.
did you say that was dropping? March 31st?
Yep, March 31st.
Fantastic, man. So let's go ahead and get into our number 4 most anticipated movie of 2023. And Stuart, I'm going to go a little bit left field here, but listen, I feel like anytime Christopher Nolan drops a movie, the world stops briefly. And we actually have a Christopher Nolan film dropping next year called Oppenheimer. For those of you who certainly don't know, the movie itself is based off of the physicist Robert Oppenheimer, who actually works with a team of scientists during the Manhattan Project. And for anybody that knows anything about the Manhattan Project, that eventually does lead to the development of the atomic bomb. So the idea that we've got somebody, a heavy hitter like Christopher Nolan, tackling a topic such as this, I'm really looking forward to it, man. I mean, look at the lineup already. I mean, Cillian Murphy, you probably remember him as Scarecrow from the Batman. He's also in Peaky Blinders. We got Emily Blunt, one of the best actresses out there today. Matt Damon, always solid and quite enjoyable as an actor. Robert Downey Jr. taking off the Iron Man suit and actually getting into a movie somebody probably cares about here. It's been a while. And of course, Florence Pugh, who has just been taking the world by storm recently. I love the lineup. I love Christopher Nolan movies. The idea of this in the development of an atomic bomb, I really want to see how Christopher Nolan manages to put this all together and what kind of weird twists, if there are any, he manages to certainly find for us. But as you see, it says shot in with IMAX film, so you got to see it in IMAX. But I'm really looking. I will say this: I don't believe I've seen a trailer for it yet. If there is a trailer, I certainly haven't checked it out yet. But you say Christopher Nolan, Stuart, and I'm there, buddy. I'm there for sure. And that does set to go ahead and release. It says July 21st, 2023. So right smack dab in the middle of summer blockbuster, if you will. And I'm hoping that this money makes bank. But how do you like Christopher Nolan films? Are you a big fan of his work?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a Christopher Nolan movie I didn't like, with the exception of The Dark Knight Rises. But with that exception, I mean, I love Batman Begins, The Dark Knight. I think one of my favorites is actually his. I think it was like his first movie, which I'm. Memento, was that the name of it? Where the
Oh,
guy, it's a guy who basically just can't have any new memories, basically. Yeah, so I really do love a lot of Christopher Nolan movies, and I'm really looking forward to this one. Sorry, I don't know what else to say because I honestly know nothing about it going into it.
yeah,
So all I can say is Christopher Nolan. I'm
yeah.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, and when it comes to Christopher Nolan, I feel like he's always pretty tight-lipped on anything that he's developing until we actually see the trailer for the first time. So, yeah, it's a mystery to me also. But again, you say Christopher Nolan, that's the reason why it's at number 4, not number 5, because it's like I kind of really anticipate anything that Nolan winds up dropping more than anything. So that's why he's my number 4. But what about you, Stuart? What's your number 4 movie?
All right, like I said, I would definitely give my thoughts on this movie when we got to it. My number 4 is Creed
All right,
3.
not too far
And
off.
yeah, like, huge fan of the Rocky franchise and the Creed franchise. I think the way they've kind of been slowly transitioning it for him to like kind of now be able to fully take the mantle, not just in the sense of the main character not having to rely on Rocky as a mentor, but also having Michael B. Jordan directing this movie, full like getting to really put his skills to the test, because now, directing and acting, doing that together is not an easy job, but it's something that Sylvester Stallone did during his run with the
Mm,
Rocky franchise eventually.
point.
So it's kind of cool to see that same thing happen with Michael B.
Yeah.
Jordan. I also really like in the trailer that we're going to learn a little bit more about him as a child, because that's something that,
Mm,
they kind of touched upon in the first movie, but it wasn't something that they really delve into. So I'm really curious to see like what bigger like things we're going to learn from his past. And I kind of like that idea of like something that like, because it seems like there's like some tension between them that happened when they were kids, and I'm very curious to learn what that big
what that
thing
was.
was, because a lot of times as kids we do stupid things and we don't expect it to like bite us in the butt many years later, and then it does. So I'm curious if that's what the kind of story that they're going with, or if his friend is just incredibly petty and he just like, it's like, why did I have to go to jail when you got to have a good life? It's not fair. So I'm very curious to see which direction they go in with that.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of both. Who knows, man? There are definitely people out in the world like that. So, but yeah, I'm glad you brought up the idea of him as a kid, because we don't really know too much about what his childhood was certainly like, aside from, didn't really grow up with his dad so much. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how that develops. Let's see here. So let's get into our top three as we break our top three here, beginning with number three. For me, Stuart, my third most anticipated film for 2023, The Return of Mr. John Wick. That's right. Keanu Reeves is, in fact, back. We've been getting some great promotional stuff from John Wick. I think they might have released a poster actually earlier on today, as Keanu Reeves was over at the Brazilian Comic Con. That I think they're calling it CCXP, to go ahead and promote John Wick 4. This franchise right now is just nonstop. I mean, they've got the Continental, a spin-off prequel series, if I'm not mistaken, in development, branching out of the John Wick series. They also have themselves another limited series, or maybe it's a film, I can't remember, called The Ballerina, that they're going to be diving into as well. And we're getting ourselves a John Wick 4 movie. So this John Wick world and universe just continues to expand. And I feel like it's rare, Stuart, where three movies in, each film seemingly gets a little bit better and better. To be fair, though, I still like John Wick 1 better than I do number 2. But I mean, and in the sense of like just the scale and the scope of these movies just continuing to build and do bigger and better things, I'm kind of blown away that it feels like now John Wick is sort of hitting its stride. Like, people are like, after the third one, people are like really on board with this franchise, and now it feels like we're getting new viewers and new fans to the franchise after the third one, which is insane to me. So I feel like we've got at least a John Wick 4, maybe even a John Wick 5, that we can still tap into and not feel like, man, they're just really milking it right now. I feel like there's so much story to tell, but I'm really excited for this. And yeah, they keep pushing the envelope, and at Keanu Reeves at his age, I want to see what else he's capable of doing, man. I mean, the guy continues to impress me each and every time. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it speaks for itself. John Wick 4, ladies and gentlemen, not my number 3 for next year. And John Wick 4, in fact, does release March 24th of 2023. So we got Creed at the beginning of March and John Wick towards the end. March is going to turn out to be a good month also. And we got Dungeons and Dragons, don't we? March
Yeah,
31st
at
too.
the very,
So
yeah, good
boom.
cherry on top.
Yeah, man, we got a lot of great stuff coming our way. But yeah, so that's my number 3, Stuart. What about you? What do you got for number 3?
Before I get to my number 3, I just want to say I really want to go back in time and punch myself in the face for not putting John Wick on here. For some reason, that movie totally slipped my mind. But yeah, that would have been somewhere on my top 5 list if I had thought of it. But yeah, this movie looks like it's going to be great. and I love that. I love the cast that we got. The fact that we got Ip
Yeah.
Man coming into here, and we got Mr.
Yes.
Krabs coming into here as well. I love it. I'm excited.
I forgot. Yeah, Donnie Yen, man. Oh my God. I mean, just one of the best martial artists in the business right now. It's going to be a great showdown for sure.
But my number three, here it is. My number three is Dune Chapter 2. I couldn't find like
Ah,
any official posters for this because
yeah.
it's not coming out until like I believe November. Let me double check on that. Yeah, November 3rd of 2023. So we do got a little bit of waiting before we can watch this, but I absolutely love the director of this movie, Dennis shoot, I always forget how to pronounce his name, Villeneuve or something like that. But you know, he hasn't directed a single bad movie so far. Arrival, Blade Runner, all of them freaking amazing. And then now Dune. I am really excited to see how he continues this franchise. You know, I never read the Dune novel, and I thought like the original movie was just, you know, okay, not great, but not bad either. Just, you know, eh. So but what he's done with the first Dune movie, I thought was absolutely brilliant. I think Timothy Chalamet is perfect as the main
Mhm.
character, and I'm really excited to see. I'm really excited to see more of this world, more of this world getting expanded. And I hope that if this Dune trilogy does really well, I'm hoping they can go beyond the first Dune book and hopefully be able to really expand the Dune franchise into all the you know, other spin-off books that have come out since then.
Yeah, I was going to ask because unfortunately I still have not seen part one. I was going to ask if part two is that technically still part of the original book, or is this like an extra another story from another novel or something like that? But is that the first book is that big of a story, huh? That it needs to unfold in two movies. We were just talking about the
Yeah.
idea of having to split movies up for a while.
Yeah, but like for Dune, this is again another
Makes sense.
exception. This is like it's done this way not for money, but because like it's a huge novel and there's well, they tried fitting it all into one movie before
Mhm.
and it really didn't work out. And before that, there was going to be another director that was going to do a Dune movie, and there's like a whole documentary about what it would have looked like, and he said like he was trying to convince the studios to let him make it like 7 hours long.
Oh Jesus. Okay, Zack Snyder, calm down over there.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's like the type of world Dune is, and I do
Okay.
think I should read the novel one of these days. But yeah, regardless, I really liked it. I think the cast is amazing, and I really love visually just the I love the aesthetic of this movie. I love the costume designs, and I really love that they, you know, film in the desert and that, you know, the actors look like they're really giving it their all, not just in terms of skill, but in terms of just, you know, being able to like put up with that kind of heat in order to make the movie look as good as it does.
Yeah, I will say, while I haven't had the opportunity to see the movie, the trailers alone were stunning. And I honestly, it's one of those things where I think that's one of the reasons why I haven't gone and actually watched Dune recently, just because there's a part of me that wishes I had seen it on the big screen. And so I feel like I'm sure it'll still interest me and capture me, but you know, the idea of seeing something like that visually on a screen is big screen is everything. So I definitely wish I had had the opportunity to go ahead and check it out, but I definitely will before this movie comes out. When did you say Dune 2 comes out,
Oh,
or
yeah.
part
So
2?
it comes out like very end or near the end of next year. It was November. Oops, I just had it. Oh, November 3rd.
Oh, okay. So we certainly have some time before then, guys. So all right. So that's your number three most anticipated film for 2023. Now we're gonna get into number two. For me, number two certainly comes in despite the movie's controversy. The Flash is definitely one of my most anticipated films. They've been sitting. This movie is. I feel like this movie is done. It's ready to go. I want to see this film. I'm kind of curious what changes, if any changes, are certainly happening before this movie actually makes it to release. You know, is Ezra Miller going to be in prison when this movie drops? Who knows? There's so much time before this movie winds up coming out, but I feel like the hype is real. You know, people have been mentioning Warner Brothers executives. They've done like special screenings and stuff, screen tests for this movie. Everybody has absolutely loved it. Whether or not that's something they just feed to us, There's a part of me that really believes it. Andy Muschietti from the It films is coming over to go ahead and direct this. I think they probably got a really strong story here as they're going to be diving into Flashpoint. And this, for me, while they do have movies already lined up in 2023 for the DCU, I do feel like this is going to be one of the more pivotal movies for the DCEU, certainly going forward. And I'm hoping that this is sort of the jumping off point and the leaping off point for James Gunn in regards to the direction in which he wants to go ahead and take the DCU. So I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, the debut of Supergirl, who I'm certainly hope sticks around despite new management certainly being there. I believe Michael Keaton is still in this movie along with Ben Affleck. So we get two Batmen certainly in here also. I mean, it's just superhero goodness at its finest. And this may end up being like DC's Endgame for like their forever phase one, if you will.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what this movie does and how it changes the landscape. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm really looking forward to it. So for me, The Flash comes in at number 2, and The Flash is set to go ahead and release June 23rd. So another summer blockbuster here as well. So that is, in fact, my number 2, Stuart. What about you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm being petty with this one and saying I'm not going to believe it's coming out until I see it. All right, so my number 2, shoot, what was my? Oh yeah, here it is. This was the reason Ant-Man and the Wasp ended up getting kicked off of my top 5 list, and that reason is Cocaine Bear, based on a true story.
Oh, really? It is? I thought somebody just made this up like
Nope.
like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. No?
No, I slightly lied there. It's okay. So it is based on true events, and that event was there was a bear that did cocaine that was dropped out of the sky from a plane, and that bear, I think, overdosed and died later. But someone thought, hey, what if the bear didn't overdose and die and instead went on a rampage? And that is Cocaine Bear.
Wow.
The name alone sold me. That's all I'm going to say. Just Cocaine Bear. And that movie comes out February 24th, 2023. And I have a theory that because this movie is produced by Universal Studios, I feel like this was originally pitched to be like a Sci-Fi Channel original movie, but then like someone at Universal like saw the script and was like, you know what? We can give this to like a director like Elizabeth Banks, and I'm sure that people will watch it. And thus we have Cocaine Bear coming to theaters now.
Wait, is Elizabeth Banks directing this?
Yep.
What? This is, wait a minute. Wait, I feel like Elizabeth Banks actually has some decent movies under her belt that she's directed before, but
she's done she did what was the big one she did? That's right, Charlie's Angels. She did the
she did the Charlie's Angels. It's just interesting to go from that direction to Cocaine Bear. Wait, so the true events is a bear fell out of a plane?
No. Cocaine fell out of the plane.
Out of the plane. Yeah. Okay.
And then a bear got a hold of it. Okay. Yeah, and then the bear like overdosed on the cocaine. He did not go on a rampage and kill a bunch of people. That's the part that they slightly,
I gotta say, Stuart, I love that this is your number 2. Like, we've talked about some great films: Dune, Creed 3, Dungeons and Dragons. Your honorable mentions is Quantumania, and number 2 is Cocaine Bear. I love it, Stuart. I love it.
I love weird movies, man.
I love it.
I love it when someone has a weird idea and they go through with it,
bro.
Man.
This might end up being like a cult classic. It almost kind of reminds me of God, what was the movie with Alan Tudyk and his other buddy? They were in the woods together, I think. Tucker and Dale.
Oh yeah. Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah, it feels like, I don't know if it's gonna go that route comedy wise, but as far as like just off the cuff a movie you wouldn't expect to be that good, like I feel like this actually might surprise me. All right, man. So Cocaine Bear for number 2 for Stuart when it comes to 2023. And you said that drops when in February?
Oh yeah, it was February 24th, right? Let me
okay, I think
24th. Yeah.
Okay, so dropping the same month as Ant-Man. So interesting. All right, and now guys, our number one movie. And coming to look at the images here, Stuart, I think we got the same number
We do,
one.
yeah, it looks like it.
I think we do. So we might as well just talk about it together here. Me and Stuart's number one film that we're most anticipating for 2023, and that is none other than good old Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. That's so funny, Stuart, that we both landed on this. There's so many movies coming out next year that we're both looking forward to this movie as number one. Look, it's not just for me at least, it's not just the 6 art styles that we're going to be tackling in here. But for me, it's a couple things. It's the idea that the first one blew my socks off, and I think just really surprised everybody. I mean, the movie wound up taking home Best Animated Oscar that year, just really flooring everybody. And now we're back to go ahead and do this bigger and better and bolder, certainly, than ever, in a very, what seems to be a very ambitious film coming from Lord and Miller once again. And I honestly can't wait to see what this is going to be like as we get Miles Morales back as an older version of himself, along with Gwen. These two teenagers have definitely grown up a little bit more, and the stakes certainly are higher. And we're going to get the opportunity to see several different universes. I think this is going to blow me away, Stuart, and I am so excited about it. Why is this your number one?
Because of how much because of how much I love the first one and the fact that I don't think Phil Lord or Chris Miller can do any wrong. The first one really blew me away because I knew it was going to be a fun movie regardless. Like I definitely knew going into it I was going to have a good time. I did not expect it to be like that amazing like emotional roller coaster that they had. The fact that they could bring in such bizarre zany characters in an animated film, but like somehow, yeah,
what?
exactly, and then somehow like still have like the character of Miles Morales feel extremely grounded, just because like the way his world is written and the fact that he's written to be such a relatable character in so many ways. The fact that you're able to have all this like bizarre world, but like still have it feel like very like real and genuine is just like it's mind blowing. It blew my mind the first time I watched it, and it's why it's like still to this day my favorite Spider-Man movie. So yeah, Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse is definitely my most anticipated movie of next year.
Yeah, and I think the fact that somebody, that's some people really put the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse as their number one Spider-Man movie of all time. I think says just a lot, especially because the fact that it's animated and we've had
Yeah.
so many live action films, and the fact that they were able to really have a great balance of everything. I mean, just action, so many characters, incredible special effects. The emotion was certainly there, right? Like I really enjoyed the relationship between Miles along with his dad. The idea of seeing an older Peter Parker, a more experienced one, having to help train Miles and get him ready. It was just so bold, and they just had an incredible balance to everything in here. Great humor. I mean, they just really honestly nailed it. And you mentioned the idea of having these side characters like Spider-Man Noir, voiced by Nicolas Cage. I am really fascinated to see outside of like Spider-Man 2099, like who else is certainly going to be popping up in this particular film. And I just think these films are just going to get bolder and bolder, and really doing some innovative things. I mean, I try not to talk about the art styles because I don't want to say the art styles is like my least most excited, but it's like because it's not, but there's so much stuff to look forward to in this movie, that the idea of just seeing what these different universes are going to look like, rocking my 3D glasses. Yeah, man, I cannot wait. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see. But I will say this. I still do think if the first one won an Oscar, I think this movie is probably going to be up there for at least being nominated once again. And I haven't even seen it, and I'm pumped for it already like that.
Yeah. And then well actually, okay, so we mentioned different Spider-Man that are going to be in this. We're not 100% sure which ones. There is one that I think has been confirmed, and that is the Japanese Spider-Man from like the basically Super Sentai like Spider-Man
Oh, the Toei
series.
Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Oh, you think he's been confirmed?
I think so. I have to double check on that, but it feels like he would fit in perfectly with this type of Spider-Man movie. So my fingers are crossed for sure.
Yeah, I would love to see Spider Punk in here. He's always been one of my favorite designed Spider-Men from the several different universes. And I don't know why. There's a part of me that really wants to see a Ben Riley Scarlet
Yes.
Spider pop up in here somewhere also. I can't remember if he did. I don't think he did in the first one, right?
No.
Anywhere? No? Okay. So, yeah, I would love to see either of those two characters in this one, but should be a good time, man. So, guys, our number one, me and Stewart's, I had not seen his list before today. I love the fact that we both landed on it, but Spider Man Across the Spider Verse coming in as our most anticipated film for 2023, and that winds up dropping June 2nd. So definitely go ahead and enjoy it. We got Spider-Man June 2nd and The Flash June 23rd. Another fantastic month for us to certainly look forward to. But great stuff, Stuart. Great stuff, man.
Yep.
But all right, guys, we want to know your top five most anticipated films. What did you guys think about some of our selections? And did any of our selections make your top five? Feel free to please go ahead and put your list in the comment section box below. We would love to see what movies you're most anticipating for next year. But other than that, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for us. We'll see you guys on Hero Report this week and next week, also after we drop this particular video. Any last words, Stuart, before we go, or where can people find you on social media if they need to reach you?
Oh, you guys can find me at TurboStew01. I forgot to change my
Captain
name back.
Marvelous is here.
That's funny. You guys can find me on Twitter at TurboStew01, or you can also find me there on Instagram as well. Same caption. And yeah.
Awesome, man. And you guys can follow us at A Plus Opinions up here. Very active over on Twitter, Instagram, as well as Facebook, which is our main hub. So definitely go ahead and check us out there. And that's it for us, guys. We'll certainly see you next time. So in the meantime, do us a big favor. As always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A Plus. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.